Hey folks, so we're back. Like I said, I was going to take some time off camera to work out some schematics and what have you, and I did that, and I've got all the basic ones that I think I'm going to need done. Um, give you a quick look at what we got here. So this is just your standard four-way, um, for crossing over tracks. Um, I went with a two-track in each direction system. So there we go. So there's that one. Uh, this is a three-way, a T intersection. In case I want to pick off of a straight set of track to just go one way, or if I want to add a train station in or what have you. One thing, as you can see, of course, I've put walls and turrets in on all of these. Um, so they're pretty self-sustaining. Just a piece of straight. This one has crossovers in case trains need to cross from one track to another in each of the two directions. Here's a 90-degree corner. Here is an end train a circle, so that when they get to an end of a run, they can do a U-ey and come back in the other direction. Here we have it's a diagonal. That's another diagonal, and that's a third diagonal. None of the diagonals have gates because you can't do a gate on a diagonal. But it just gives me some flexibility to go around different objects. This is a 45-degree to the left, and I can rotate that, of course, that way or that way. But there's also should be there you go, 45-degree to the right, because you kind of need both of those. You can't mirror the schematic without a mod, and I'm going to do that. So there's just another diagonal. This is an end cap, so that as I'm building out and I intend to continue on with a section of railroad, I can put this on the end of that the last section that I do. That way the biters can't get into the railroad system, and it protects the end of it. I need one for the diagonal as well. There was that 45 again. This is a crossing because all of these tracks are completely surrounded by walls on the outside. You're going to have places to be able to cross over them. This is a set of gates to cross over the tracks, and the gates are tied to the rail signals, so that when you go through a gate, it shuts down the rail. So it's a little safer with regards to getting run over by your own trains. There's also a set of gates that run parallel to the flow of the track, so that you can get into the system and walk along the sides of the track. Eventually, those are going to be those are going to be paved for speed, but that gives me a means of driving up and down these rail systems in a car or a tank, and be inside of a walled area. Finally, this is a layout of lasers. One substation in the center, and complete complement of lasers on the outside. I have found that those are really handy for clearing areas that I need to put track in. So there you go. So there's our tracks. I'll flip through them real quick again, and then we're going to head out and use some of them. And if there's any more that I need, these are the basic ones that I need. If there's anything else that I come up with that I need, we'll build from there as we go along. But I wanted to have a complete set to at least get started. And I did a little bit of testing up here, and I figured since I was going to be testing some of them out, I might as well do it in a place that was going to be useful. So we'll go on up here to the upper border wall of our compound, and you'll see that I have already laid some track up here. There's no stations or anything else in this. I didn't put those in. I will put them in as needed, where needed. I just wanted to get the tracks laid, because the tracks are going to act as our border wall in going forward. As it stands right now, I've put down some tracks, and when we get an area closed in, we'll go back later and clear all the biters out from inside that area. But as you can see, like I say, I've put down some of these various tracks. This is that gate. This is the four-way. This is a right-hand 45, and of course this is a straight piece in here. There's also one of those crossover pieces here, so that if they're on the inside or the outside track, they can get where they need to go. So let's go on up here, and I will show you what they look like on the ground. So now, as you can see, the rail signals here are tied in with green wires. Right now the gates are closed. The signals are green. As soon as one of the gates opens, the signals turn red. Theoretically, the train will not run my ass over that way. We'll see. So they're set up to do that. Now, the ones that run along the roadway, those are not hooked up because there's no reason for them to be. They simply allow me to be able to move up and down the entire length of the track at will. And of course, where these gates are, I have put lasers down through here. Everything else, the walls are, the outer walls are lined with lasers. It's going to be a lot of lasers and a lot of solar panels and a lot of walls and what have you. But I think it's kind of a neat concept, and I figure why not, right? So let's get started on laying some track, huh? All right, so I already went ahead and cleared my next section of biters. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to lay ourselves some straight track. Now we just recently did a gate, so we don't need a gate. We just need a piece of straight. There we go, right there. And since we're going to lay this right here, we do have this area up here. I think further along I'm going to put in another, at least a T, if not a four-way, so that we can drive up this way at some point with the rails. But I don't think we're gonna probably run over this iron ore here, but that's a fairly small patch. We've got some better patches and what have you. As you can see over here, I did take advantage of those 45s to kind of snake in between this uranium patch here and most of this iron patch up here. So we have those, and then we're gonna, and with this exit here, this can follow up here. We're gonna send one down this way. I don't know what's over here yet, so we'll see as we go. At some point I might want to add some radar to these because there's no real radar coverage with them yet. So the first thing we're going to want to do with this is, of course, we are going to want to clear our end cap off so that we can get started with our day's construction. One more thing I did off camera is I went ahead and got the Power Armor Mark II. and I made myself some fusion uh, fusion reactors for it and what have you, and some batteries so that we can start doing some of this stuff. Ooh, that is one thing I did not consider. I loaded up on my supplies. I did not make room for picking stuff up that needs to be picked up. So let's go ahead and lay this straight, or at least get it started laid, and then that will free up some of our inventory slots to where they can start putting stuff down. Because as it stands right now, our bots are tied up with not being able to deliver stuff. So let's go ahead and throw that down. Of course, you see there's red. There's some stuff in the way. I'm going to hold down Shift and left click. That's going to tell it to go ahead and build the blueprint, but also to remove anything that is in the way of the blueprint. So it'll go through and pull up the trees and mark them for removal and what have you. We already marked the end cap for removal, so it'll still get removed as we get space. And there we go. We'll just let her go and let the robots do their job. And like I say, I think this is going to be a pretty decent setup. In the past, I've just used the rails and the solar panels and stuff. I did not have the walls in. I thought this time around I would try it with walls and with lasers. You know, I certainly can't take credit for the initial idea with regards to the track. That came from watching Zisto's myopia videos and seeing what he had done with his track. I'll put a link to his YouTube page down in the doobly-doo. Definitely go and check him out. He's got a lot of cool stuff in there, and definitely deserves the credit for what he has done with this. We'll move over a little bit so that make sure we got coverage for the robots for building what needs to be built. We'll have to cross over up here at some point so that we can grab that stuff at the top. We're not going to be able to go far enough, but we got to start, and we can just go in here and move one of these out of the way. Now, where we join the two of them together, there is some gaps in the solar panels and things like that. I'm going to have to go back and do a better job on these ends so that all the ends butt together nicely. But this gets the job done for now. And what I can do is go back in and fill these in with things like accumulators and the like. Because what my goal is to try and keep a solid build all the way across the outsides of these tracks, not including the walls, just so that in case anything gets in, it doesn't end up in the tracks and interfering with our trains or interfering with anything else, or what have you. So it's just another level of wall protection, I suppose, if you will. This is where blueprints really come in handy, because to do all of this by hand would have taken quite some time, even just for this one section. I mean, it took quite some time to plan it all out to begin with. Now here we got some biters coming in. See if we can lure them to the edges where the lasers are, just so they don't damage our stuff. And like I say, that's why I built those wall caps, so that when we're not doing what we are currently, we can throw a wall cap on there and keep the biters out. So let's do this. Let's close this gap down. Now, with a solar panel, of course, there's a single gap there. So if we throw in some accumulators, it'll close that single gap up. And I don't really see that as a waste, because that'll help kind of to balance out our ratio of accumulators to panels. It certainly isn't perfect, but you know, like I say, I didn't go through and count it all up. I wasn't gonna drive myself nuts trying to do that. So yeah, so there we go, there's that. Did I close that one back up? Yeah, okay. And I could go back and do this afterwards, you know, after we drive on a little further. I just, you know, out of sight, out of mind. Might as well get it taken care of while I do. Now, things like these trees and stuff, I will go back later and address all of that, and get that cleared up. Now we have a patch of spawners over here. So since that is the case, I'm going to go ahead and replace that wall cap that we had on there before, and so that we don't have to worry about them coming in and getting into the end of this. And then we're going to work on getting that all cleared out so that we can further our railroad construction. So let's go ahead and throw down this cap, because once we start attacking these spawners, we're going to piss these biters off, and they're going to want to come after our stuff. So we may as well go ahead, since we're not going to work on this until such a time as we get them out of there, go ahead and do that. Now, this next section, I think we're probably going to put another straight section in, and then we're going to do a four-way here, straight, 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 another four-way on this side. That way we could do a loop up here, because obviously it goes around this lake, but it may very well go up further. But that'll kind of give us a nice little loop there that we can do. So once we have this section here cleaned up a bit, so let's go ahead and kill some biters. So now, one of the nice things with having the robots is, like, we can go ahead and start to clear some of this stuff out that we need to in order to lay down track. But what we have to watch, because the biters and the spitters will aggro on our bots, is we can only go so far before we get close. But that is why I built this, because we can set this sucker down and hook it into the net across the substations, have the bots throw it down, and we can walk our way right towards them. Again, hitting shift. And just kind of go in a little at a time and close in on them and rain laser death down upon them. And the nice thing is we can stand in the middle here and be relatively protected. I'll let those robots do their little thing down there. I guess we got some that were marked for removal. Might as well let them go ahead and grab them. There we go. The nice thing is, by using the substations, we don't have to try and drop poles all the time, and we can bring a serious amount of firepower to bear in a fairly quick manner. And certainly does a number quickly. Now, like I say, I do lose the occasional bot from that, and we're definitely going to at some point have to make up for those losses. But, you know, in the interim, we're doing okay, and as our production grows, that won't be such a big loss to lose a few bots. That's the whole point of them. So we're just going to keep walking this to a point where we've got as many of these little buggers out of here as we possibly can. We're not going to completely clear out the area. We're just going to clear enough to where we can start building our railroads, and then from there we can clear the rest out afterwards, because we'll have ourselves a nice wall all the way around the area, and we can live a relatively pleasant lifestyle after that. Alright? Free from the hassles of biters and other strange alien creatures. Now obviously there's no way we'd have been able to do this if we didn't have the power system that we've developed with the nuclear power, so that is certainly a huge boon to our ability to do this. And at some point we will have to pull back and regroup, and because we'll run out of either substations or lasers at some point, so we will have to resupply with those and basically just and yep, there we go. See, we're running low on lasers now. We are out of lasers. This is what I was just getting at, and that illustrates that point perfectly. But what we can do, just to go ahead and take care of this spawner, is we can tell these guys to come back down here and pull some of this stuff up that we don't need anymore and fill in from there. And that should give us the ability to step forward one more, close enough to be able to do away with that particular spawner with relatively little fuss and muss. Now we're not going to be able to get all the way over to here, but that's fine because we're far enough that we can lay another section of track. So then we just back up and put our robots to work pulling everything back. Again, you have to be a little careful that you're not putting your bots in too bad of a position to get lost. You are going to lose a few. That's the name. That's the, you know, the nature of the beast, I guess. But if you're careful, you won't lose that many. If you're conscientious of what you're doing, or conscious of what you're doing, and conscientious of trying to keep your numbers okay, you should be fine. Now the reason I went ahead and did that Mark II power armor and did as many batteries in the fusion power generation is so that we can do this, because that's a lot of bots doing a lot of moving, and we don't want our batteries going dead. We want to be able to keep these puppies moving back and forth. So, you know, I made that command decision to just go ahead and do it off camera and get it done. I hope that doesn't bother anybody. All it was a matter of sitting down a factory and picking up a bunch of parts. So I don't think it really made that big of a difference. like I said, we may lose a robot here and there occasionally, but at the end of the day, this is relatively speaking no fuss, no muss. Just go in, do what you need to do, and get out. And it's a lot faster than standing there tossing grenades at them all day. Alright? Once again, shift. Back over here, and we'll pick up some more that we're not really using anymore. Let it fill in those. We just want to be careful we don't lose our connection. We lose our power connection, we're screwed. But so long as we don't accidentally cut our connection, or the bugs don't get it, or whatever the case may be, we should be just fine. Right? Right. So, you just want to watch overextending yourself. You don't want to go too far and start cutting down these groupings like I'm doing right now, and find yourself in a bind to where you don't have enough protection to fall back on. But I think we're okay, and we'll certainly put those to good use to clearing this clump out, and then we can run and this clump here, and then we can run another section of railroad. Just that simple. Certainly a lot faster than what it was when we were laying them by hand, that's for sure. I certainly can't complain about that. So let's grab, oops, that's a solar panel. How did I get that? I want that. Also, if you're going to cross territory where you don't necessarily need the lasers themselves just to get to another location, you can always use the large power poles. They have plenty of reach. They will get you where you need to go and get you close, and then from there you can, you know, start laying lasers at that point and be just fine. Oh, looks like we are out of lasers. All right, well, let's borrow you some. From there, and from there. And again, like I say, you're going to have the occasional construction bot loss. I mean, you got to make the decision to either live with it or be a little less in a hurry, or whatever you care to call it. Am I out of substation? No, I got sugar. See, now this is what I said. You gotta be real careful with this, that you don't inadvertently not attach properly, and your power doesn't get hooked up, because if you do, you're screwed. And if you notice, I'm off by by one square in the wrong direction, and that's all it takes, you know. And then they come and bite you, and you lose a lot. So you got to pay attention to your alignment. You got to make sure your alignment is done properly. Otherwise, it will come back to hurt you quickly. It's the last thing you need to have happen. When you get a whole swarm of little um, graboid bastards coming to get you. So I think, other than that one, whatchamacallit, and we can, you know what, let's just take care of him. There we go. And while we're here, some people just want to watch the world burn. And in this particular case, I happen to be one of them. Alright, so let's make these guys' day. Now I can tell you from experience that setting that forest on fire, even though we've cleared most of the stuff out of this area, will definitely piss these guys off, and they will come from a ways away to come after us. And I can't say I blame them. I mean, you set my house on fire, I'm going to come after you too. But having said that, I think we have enough cleared to be able to do another extension to our railroad without having to worry about too much interference from graboids. Let it do its job and take care of these little guys. And I think we got enough cleared out. We can once again go ahead and open up that, what's down there? It says there's something down there, right in that area. What is it? Is there anything there? I don't see anything, but it says there's something there. See? Oh, it's that copper. It looked like a an enemy there on the small screen. It was just a patch of copper. Alrighty. Open the end back up. Now, I don't need those crossover ones all that often. Just I like to throw them in there once in a while. Same thing goes with the gates. They don't have to be, one right after the other, but it is certainly nice to be able to have a fairly plentiful number of places to be able to cross over. So let's see, what do we got here? Alright, so let's do one more straight, and then maybe we'll put in a four-way, and we'll go from there. So where's our catalog? There's our catalog. So Excuse me, I'm sorry. I've camped this week. I've been really busy with that, so not getting a lot of sleep at night the last few days. So I apologize for all the yawning. Um, let's see what we have here. Right about there. Yeah, that looks about right. We'll have to fix the track attachments, but you know we can make it happen. Let's get through here before we get trapped. I'm not gonna lie, this definitely does chew up a fair amount of resources in a fairly quick order. So you're having to resupply after every, few sections of track. But again, it's a lot easier building this way, and it's to me just kind of nice to have the throughput and what have you from the word go. If you think about the fact that every time we do this, we're putting down a butt ton of solar panels and a butt ton of accumulators, it's going to add to our power system, and it certainly add to our defenses. So, that's what this is all about, right? Well, that and launching the rockets to theoretically get off the planet. Looks like I need to get myself some more bots. Starting to run low on bots, I think. Not building quite so fast. So we'll finish up that wall. And then we'll move down here and let it finish up these walls. Alright, so let's see. Do we want to... Yeah, I think we want to put another four-way in here. And the reason I'm going to put a four-way is at some point I may want to go down into here. And rather than having to tear into this whole thing and put a bunch of stuff, if I put a four-way here and I cap it off, I can go down into this area of my base. So if I put a four-way here, that'll allow me to come up straight and then make a 45 at some point past the iron and what have you here. So that's kind of my intention, my thought process. What are we out of? We're out of accumulators. So that's the nice thing about this. It still lets you go ahead and build even if you don't necessarily have everything you need. You come back and get it later. Alright, so we'll do a four-way here. Is that what we said? Yes, it is. Now these suckers are big. These are hard to see the whole thing all at once. In fact, they're impossible to see the whole thing all at once. I think that's just, yeah, right about there. I think is just crossovers for various things. So shift. And where are we at? We don't want to get stuck someplace that we can't get out of. Because we're surrounded on all sides. Not that we couldn't get out. I mean, we could just move the stuff out of the way and go. So if we have to, we have to. And since we are at this point low on accumulators, once we get this one built, we will cap the ends, and we'll head back to home base and restock. And at that point, I think we will call this video good, and that'll be that. I just wanted to allow you guys to have the opportunity to see what I had accomplished with regards to blueprints. I had said I was going to oh, it looks like maybe we're getting low on track too. Hopefully we're not getting low on wall and lasers. Those are the two things that'll really bite us in the ass if we run out of those, because we'll definitely have to go down and get some of those and bring them back up here, you know, to be able to close up these ends. Alright, and just to be safe, we will close up the end closest to trouble first, so that in case we do run out of supplies, we can we can go get some and at least hopefully be secure in the interim. And come on, over one, no, right there. How's that look? Good enough? Yeah, good enough. I'm doing this one first because this is closest to the enemy. So if we do this one and we have the supplies, if we run out of supplies for the other ones, well, it's not as bad as sitting right next to a bunch of spawners and running out of supplies, that's for sure. And there are some things we have run out of, accumulators being primarily the problem we're seeing with the warnings right now is accumulators. So there we go. And we got one more side to put a cap wall in, if we can. Although if we can't, I don't think it's going to make a huge impact, because there's enough lasers pointing at it from the other wall that I don't think anything's going to make it in it regardless. Of course, you know what to say, pride goeth before the fall, right? So my luck is I'll say, oh, nothing, and then that's when we end up having problems that we shouldn't have. How did we end up with a hole there? I don't know, but we're going to fill it. Just to be safe, we're going to fill it. I know I probably don't have to fill in every single little tiny gap, because, you know, they're going to not really be able to get in anyway because of the lasers. But, you know what? I'd rather do it and get in the habit of doing it than for it to come back and bite me in the ass. Alright, move over a little bit and let it finish that wall. One of the things I wish that we could do with the blueprints is see how all these trees are, but then you've got all the stuff in the inside. If I do this destruction blueprint, it's going to pick everything up. I wish there was a way to tell it only to pick up the organic material, either the rocks, which not organic, I guess, because rocks, but pick up just the non-built stuff, so that we could actually kind of clear out an area without accidentally tearing our own crap down, or or even intentionally tearing our own crap down in order to be able to do it. So anyway, there we go, guys. I know it wasn't a long stretch because only from here to there, but we got a little bit done, and we're going to continue to build around this railroad and what have you. So we'll do some of it off camera, we'll do some of it on camera. But for now, there it is. That's going to be my rail system. I hope you guys find it interesting. If you see any issues with it, or any questions, or you just want to say, hey, or go jump in a lake, by all means, comment. If you get something out of this, like the video, and if you want to stick around, subscribe. And like I say, I will put Zysto's information in the doobly-doo. All right, hey, you guys have a good day. Bye.